I was going to rip his heart out. I'm the best ever. I'm the most brutal and vicious and most ruthless champion there's ever been. There's no one can stop me. Lynx is a conqueror. No, I'm Alexander. He's no Alexander. I'm the best ever. There's never been anybody as ruthless. I'm Sonny Liston. I'm Jack Dempsey. There's no one like me. I'm from Nairclaw. There's no one that can match me. My style is impetuous. My defense is impregnable. And I'm just ferocious. I want your heart. I want to eat his children.
What happens when a 58-year-old legend of the sport, once feared as the most dangerous man alive, steps into the ring with one of the most controversial YouTubers turned fighters of our era? The world found out when Mike Tyson faced Jake Paul on November 15, 2024, inside AT&T Stadium, Texas. The build-up was insane, the stakes were massive, and the controversy hasn't stopped since. Some called it a real fight. Others? A carefully scripted piece of entertainment. Tonight, we're going deep into the Tyson vs. Jake Paul fight, how it was made, why it got delayed, what really happened in the ring, and why millions of fans still believe it was rigged. By the end of this, you'll know exactly why this fight has become one of the most debated moments in boxing history. When Netflix first revealed that it would stream Mike Tyson vs. Jake Paul, the internet exploded. Tyson, the former heavyweight champion who terrified the boxing world in the 1980s and 90s, was stepping back in the ring at nearly 60 years old. Jake Paul, meanwhile, had carved out a reputation as the enfant terrible of modern boxing, defeating ex-MMA fighters and polarizing the combat sports community. For Netflix, this wasn't just a fight. This was a global event. A battle between two completely different generations, two completely different legacies. The hype machine worked instantly. Memes, debates, interviews, all pointing to one question: was this a real fight or a circus act for clout and money? The fight was originally scheduled for July 20, 2024, but just weeks before, disaster struck. Mike Tyson suffered an ulcer flare-up on a flight from Los Angeles to Miami. He was hospitalized, forcing the fight to be postponed. I want to thank my fans around the world for their support and understanding during this time. Unfortunately, due to my ulcer flare-up, I have been advised by my doctor to lighten my training for a few weeks to rest and recover, Tyson said in a statement. My body is in better overall shape than it has been since the 1990s. I will be back to my full training schedule soon. Jake Paul, this may have bought you some time, but in the end you will still be knocked out and out of boxing for good. I appreciate everyone's patience and can't wait to deliver an unforgettable performance later this year. Critics immediately raised red flags. Tyson's health, they argued, was a major liability. Should a man approaching 60, with documented medical problems, even be sanctioned for a professional bout? Despite concerns, the fight was rescheduled for November 15, 2024, at the massive AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas. This wasn't an exhibition. The Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation sanctioned the event as a professional boxing match. But there were unusual conditions. 8 rounds, not 12. 2-minute rounds, not the standard 3. 14-ounce gloves, heavier than normal. Knockdowns were allowed. It was technically a pro fight, but clearly structured to reduce risks for Tyson. When fight night finally arrived, the atmosphere was surreal. Mike Tyson, gray-bearded but still broad-shouldered, walked into the stadium like the gladiator of old. Across from him stood Jake Paul, 27 years old, young, fresh, and ready to prove himself against the biggest name he'd ever faced. The bell rang. Tyson charged forward, throwing heavy hooks. The first 2 rounds actually looked competitive, but by round 3, Tyson's age began to show. His speed slowed, his stamina dipped, and Jake Paul began to pick him apart with jabs and combinations. By round 6, the fight felt one-sided. Tyson still landed a few shots that shook the crowd, but Paul dominated with volume. After 8 rounds, the judges scored it 80-72, 79-73, 79-73, all for Jake Paul. Paul had now beaten Mike Tyson by unanimous decision. But the decision didn't end the story. In fact, it started the biggest controversy of the year. Online, fans accused the fight of being rigged. Some claimed Tyson pulled punches. Others pointed to Jake Paul's cautious style, saying he held back instead of going for the knockout. A supposed leaked fight script even circulated online before the event, predicting exactly when Tyson would fall, though it turned out to be fake. Jake Paul's critics said this was the final proof. His entire boxing career was built on manufactured fights against aging legend. Jake Paul's camp, most valuable promotions, quickly hit back. His manager, Nakisa Bidarian, told CBS Sports that it's beyond lunacy. There was no script, no restrictions like "don't throw uppercut." It's complete nonsense. For them, the fight was completely real. Tyson simply lost because of age and conditioning. But fans weren't convinced. Clips of Tyson barely throwing in later rounds went viral. Comparisons were made to WWE, with some saying the fight felt like sports entertainment rather than boxing. In the end, Jake Paul walked away with the biggest win of his career. He didn't just beat an opponent, he beat a legend. But for Mike Tyson, the event left mixed emotions. Some praised him for even stepping into the ring at his age. Others felt it damaged his legacy, reducing Iron Mike to a pawn in Jake Paul's rise. And for boxing? The debate still rages. Was this good for the sport, bringing millions of eyeballs to boxing again? Or was it a low point, turning the squared circle into a circus? Regardless of whether this fight was fixed, rigged, or simply a mismatch under the guise of entertainment, there's no denying. Jake Paul vs. Mike Tyson made Netflix, and everyone watching it, very, very rich. This was not just a fight, it was Netflix's biggest sporting event ever. The numbers alone tell a story most combat sports fights only dream of. Netflix confirmed that 50 million households tuned in live worldwide to watch the fight night, at its peak with 65 million concurrent streams. One of the biggest challenges of streaming live sports? Handling that kind of demand. The platform nearly buckled. Buffering, lagging, complaints, yet even with tech issues, 50 million homes were watching. But that's just one part of the picture. Netflix also reported 108 million global viewers for the fight, that's average minute audience plus live viewership, making it one of the most streamed sporting events ever. These weren't just fight fans. Casual viewers, Netflix subscribers, casual browsers, people curious to see Tyson in his 50s, people who had never watched boxing before, they all tuned in. To put that into context, recent big boxing matches like Canelo vs. Crawford drew about 41.4 million viewers globally via Netflix, which is massive, but still dwarfed by what Paul Tyson managed to pull. So whatever the quality of the fight, whatever the criticisms, this event won in terms of reach. In a way, that's the point. The controversy, the rumors of a fix, the critiques, they all added fuel to the flame. They got people talking, people watching, people sharing, and Netflix cashed in on that. Whether you think it was real or manufactured, one thing's clear. The world watched.